Here's the hard truth. New musicians don't get gigs for one simple reason, and it's not your voice, it's not your gear, it's not your set list. My name is Eric Andrews. I'm a local musician here in Cleveland, Ohio, Northeast Ohio. I play about 120 shows a year at wineries and bars and restaurants, private events, corporate events, that kind of thing. I play solo acoustic about 90% of the time. I do play in a little band also. I have a full-time job and I play on the weekends. I'm by no means a guru, but I've been doing this enough that I have some good tips for you. The core problem that new musicians have is they think that the music is the hardest part. They obsess over their gear and their set lists and try to get everything to perfection. The real issue that they have is that they don't understand exactly what the venue wants. So before I give you the number one mistake that they make, I think it's important to understand what the venues actually want. And one thing the venues care about is reliability. They care that if you book a show, you're going to be there. I mean, things happen, you get sick, stuff comes up, it happens. But for the most part, they want to make sure that you're going to be there when you say that you're going to be there. Um, they want you to be on time, and really you should have an easy setup. I know guys that they'll play a solo 3 hour show and they'll bring, five guitars and lights and monitors and mixing boards and all the stuff you really don't need. I mean, the venue really expects you to be on time and have a pretty easy setup, flexible setup. You may only get a small corner or whatever. And, the venues just want it to be a no drama situation for them. Um, they want someone that's not, generally, they want somebody that's not too loud. They want people to be able to, you want to add to the experience at the winery or restaurant or whatever. And so you want to make sure people can talk. So you want to look out to the audience while you're playing a song and make sure people aren't like straining to talk to each other. If they are, you got to turn it down. Um, the venues expect clear communication. They don't want to, oh, I thought you texted this. I thought you said that. Clear communication. They book you, you confirm, everything's clear. Um, I find, kind of recently, I've been noticing that venues really want musicians to be active on social media and tag their venue, mention the show. It goes both ways. The venues need to do that also, but the musicians need to, make sure they're consistent and consistently have presence on social media. And, that's part of the fee you charge. It's not only your performance, but it's also the promotion on social media. So with that being said, the number one mistake musicians make is that they don't have a proper outreach. Okay, they don't treat the music business as a business. They think that it's all about their talent and that the venues are going to come knocking and they're going to be calling them because they're so talented and they're so good and everything. But it's really not like that. You really need to treat it like a business. So, you need to, especially at the beginning, before you have any gigs, you have to have some sort of sales process. When I first started, I had a spreadsheet and I had an email. In fact, you can get my template email down below in the comments. It's a free email that you can change to your own personal um, your own. You can personalize it, but um, I had a whole spreadsheet where I had a system where I would reach out by email. I would find their email on. First, I would look at other musicians and see where they were playing and see where I even wanted to play. And then I would look up those places and either off their website or off their Facebook page, I would message them with my template. If I didn't hear anything, I would follow up I think it was 2 days later. If I still didn't hear anything, I would call. And then, finally, I would always show up and introduce myself. A lot of the venues nowadays, I'm hearing that they want the person to come in and meet and talk for a second and, make sure you're on the same page. I think that's okay to do that. Um, another part of that initial reach out would be to have some sort of video of you playing some songs. And with that video, like YouTube's a great thing to use because you can just store songs on YouTube. And if somebody wants to hear what you sound like, you can just send them a link to your YouTube page. But even if you make just a short promotional video, a minute or two tops, and you don't need the full songs with your, all the verses, all the choruses, all the solos or whatever, if you're looping or whatever, just literally just a recognizable chorus onto the next song, really 1 minute. They're not going to listen to more than that anyway. They may fast forward and play a couple of songs, but if you give them a 30-second to 1 minute video, that's all they're going to listen to anyway, and have 4 or 5 really recognizable songs. That's how you're going to get booked at these kinds of gigs, wineries, restaurants, that kind of thing. Um, you really want to make it hard for the venue uh, to say no. Most musicians, that's the number one mistake. They make it really hard for the venue to say yes. And if you go in there and tell them, look, I play all recognizable songs. I'm very conscious of the volume. I have professional equipment. I'm quick to set up and tear down. I don't drink at my gigs. That's a whole other topic. I don't drink at my gigs. You can drink at your drink gigs as long as you do it responsibly or whatever. But these people just, they don't want any drama. They have enough to deal with. They're dealing with employees, and they're making sure they have enough French fries for that night and whatnot. So you want to make the music as painless as possible. They know when they hire me, they can set it and forget it. I'll be there. I'll go through the 3 hours. I play all songs that people know, and everybody's going to have a good experience. It's like clockwork. Um, so here's how you fix your system, right? So that you can get gigs. First of all, have 35 to 40 reliable songs people know, um, recognizable songs. You want to have a 1 minute demo clip, just again of 4 or 5 really recognizable songs. Uh, you want a clean and professional booking email. So go down in the comments and grab mine for free, and follow up. You send that first email. Don't just assume you'll hear from them if you hear from them. I mean, you have to work it like a sales job. So keep track of who you talk to, and write it down, and keep a notebook or a computer file or something, and follow up. Um, I will be making these videos once a week, for some real world gigging advice. So I'll be doing these every week and just kind of going through stuff that I've experienced and sharing that with you. So if you're a musician, new musician, seasoned musician, whatever, please hit subscribe. And um, just remember that the talent helps you get noticed. People notice people that are talented if you have a song online or whatever. But professionalism gets you booked. So that's my hook. Professionalism gets you booked. Um, Remember, don't text and drive, and adopt a puppy if you can. And I'll see you next time. Thank you.